Canada's future fighter fleet has been thrown into uncertainty, and the reason goes far beyond engine thrust, stealth coating, or missile range. This is now a story about national sovereignty, geopolitical pressure, and a government caught between two superpowers and two radically different fighter jets. For years, Ottawa was expected to quietly sign the check for 88 American-built F-35s. It was supposed to be straightforward, a done deal, locked in. But then something dramatic happened. Prime Minister Mark Carney ordered a sudden review of the entire purchase after President Donald Trump publicly threatened Canada's sovereignty. Overnight, the F-35 buy went from inevitable to under investigation. And today, Canada has officially committed to only 16 F-35s, barely enough to fill a single squadron, while the rest of the order hangs suspended in silence. The review that was promised before the end of summer still hasn't been released. Canadians are waiting and wondering. And while the delay deepens, Sweden has moved aggressively. Saab is lobbying, negotiating, and positioning its Gripen as the aircraft Canada should choose instead. This is no longer a technical debate. It's a political dogfight with billions of dollars, Arctic sovereignty, and alliances on the line. On one wing, the F-35, the world's most advanced combat aircraft, wrapped in cutting-edge stealth, sensor fusion, battlefield vision, and seamless NATO network integration. But there's a catch. The very model Canada wants relies on the Block 4 upgrade program, which a U.S. government watchdog says is 5 years behind schedule and more than $6 billion over budget. Delays, overruns, uncertainty. On the other wing, Saab's Gripen, the unconventional challenger. Built for rough terrain, isolated airbases, freezing weather, and minimal maintenance crews. A jet designed for countries with harsh geography and vast distances. Sound familiar? From a purely strategic perspective, Gripen isn't just a cheaper airplane, it's a different philosophy. Flexibility over flash, independence over reliance, mobility over complexity. The temperature in Ottawa is rising. The fighter competition has returned, and this time, the stakes are even higher. Let's go deeper. Beyond the politics and prestige, the real battlefield is long-term cost, a silent but critical factor in Canada's fighter jet decision. The F-35 may be hailed as a technological masterpiece, but its upkeep has been a nightmare for the U.S. military. High maintenance demands, frequent downtime, and reliability issues have been well documented. U.S. audits reveal something startling. A 7-year-old F-35 is about as available as a 36-year-old F-16 or a 17-year-old F-22. For a country like Canada, struggling to keep its aging CF-18 fleet operational, that's a glaring warning sign. On the other side, Gripen advocates make a compelling argument: dramatically lower operational costs, simpler maintenance, and higher readiness rates. A jet that can actually fly when you need it, without grounding its squadron for weeks of servicing, is no small matter for a nation with vast skies and unpredictable weather. Then there's interoperability, a major factor in North American defense. F-35 supporters argue that flying the same jet as the U.S. is crucial for NATO coordination. But Gripen fans counter, their aircraft is already integrated with multiple NATO operations, flown by Sweden, Hungary, and the Czech Republic without a single interoperability failure. And let's not forget the industrial impact. Canadian companies have earned around $4 billion supplying parts for the F-35, supporting thousands of jobs. But here's the catch: those contracts aren't permanent. Every few years, they must be recompeted, meaning there's no guaranteed long-term benefit. The debate isn't just about planes, it's about cost, readiness, alliances, and Canadian industry. Every decision made today could echo for decades in both the air and the economy. The question is, does Canada chase cutting-edge prestige with high risk, or a proven, flexible solution that keeps the country's skies secure? The debate over Canada's fighter jets isn't just about cost or technology, it's about control, sovereignty, and who really calls the shots. Even the industrial side is a battlefield. Former President Trump has already signaled to Ottawa that when Canadian F-35 contracts expire, those jobs should come back to the U.S. That's a stark reminder. Even lucrative contracts don't guarantee long-term economic benefit if political winds shift. Enter Saab. The Swedish company isn't just selling planes, they're promising a real Canadian footprint. Their plan? Assemble Gripens locally, creating 6,000 domestic jobs over 40 years, and even potentially building 150 Gripens for Ukraine right here in Canada. For Ottawa, that's a tangible, long-term investment in Canadian industry, jobs, skills, and sovereignty all in one package. But the most alarming concern isn't money, it's about control. Retired Lieutenant General Yvon Blondin, the very Air Force commander who initially recommended the F-35, has changed his stance dramatically. He warns, this isn't about aircraft performance. The F-35 is cutting edge, no doubt. But Canada doesn't own the F-35. The U.S. controls all software updates, all spare parts, even the ones sitting idle in Canadian warehouses. Without full U.S. consent, Canada cannot truly operate its own fleet. And the broader context is chilling. With Trump openly discussing ideas like annexing Canada or seizing Greenland, reliability of the U.S. as a strategic partner can no longer be taken for granted. Blondin's stark conclusion? Building Canada's entire fighter force around the F-35 under these conditions would be, in his words, irresponsible. This isn't just a procurement debate. It's a question of national independence, defense autonomy, and the future of Canada's air power. As the debate rages on, some experts have floated a bold compromise. Why not buy both the F-35 and the Gripen? On paper, it sounds expensive, but history shows Canada has operated multiple fighter types simultaneously before. And with Prime Minister Carney promising major defense spending increases, supporters argue it's entirely feasible. Here's the twist. U.S. officials are strongly opposed. Could it be more than just budget concerns? Some analysts suggest the real worry is that a side-by-side comparison would reveal just how cost-effective the Gripen really is, and how much the F-35's prestige comes at a price. But there's a bigger philosophical question looming. Should Canada even be investing in traditional fighter jets at all? The war in Ukraine has shown that cheap drones can destroy expensive aircraft on the ground. Meanwhile, the U.S. is racing to develop autonomous drones capable of teaming with or even replacing piloted fighters. Yet experts caution this shift is still years away. For now, modern fighter jets remain a necessary cornerstone of national defense. So where does that leave Canada? 3 stark paths. 1. Stick with the troubled, high-tech F-35, hoping the investment pays off in stealth and interoperability. 2. Switch to the flexible, affordable Gripen, prioritizing operational readiness, domestic jobs, and sovereignty. 3. Take the boldest move. Buy both, hedging bets and creating a uniquely adaptable air force. The debate isn't just about airplanes, it's about strategy, independence, cost, and the future of Canadian defense. Now it's your turn. Which path should Canada choose? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into Canada's defense decisions and global military trends.